Samsung's answer to the Apple Studio display, and Google Chrome at 100. This is Mac Voices. This edition of Mac Voices is supported by the MacVoices Dispatch, our weekly newsletter to keep you up on all the latest from Mac Voices. Watch or listen to Mac Voices straight from your email client. Sign up at macvoices.com/newsletter and stay up to date. Welcome to Mac Voices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is the first in a Mac Voices live conversation that I was not part of because of business and travel obligations, but the panel showed up anyway and covered a number of different topics that we'll talk about over the next few shows. I definitely want to thank all the panel members who showed up. I really appreciate them keeping the ball rolling while I was unavailable. For now, let's go right to it.
Welcome to Mac Voices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I am the fill-in host, Dave Ginsburg. Chuck Joyner is off this week, and he bravely offered or asked for me to fill in for this week, and I was happily able to do so, and glad to be here this week. So, yeah, for sure. So, but we'll have some great things to talk about this week. Great things to talk about this week. So, let me go around the room, see who's here, and we'll start on my left here. And Mr. Frank Petrie's here. Welcome back to the show. It's been a while, Frank. How you doing?
Yeah, trying to get through computer troubles, some health troubles, and it's just like a perfect storm. But I miss you guys, and I wanted to see everybody. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately. I mean, at least it's nice to see you guys again. But there's usually a panel of what, 200?
No, I don't know if it go that high, but
yeah, I don't think it's ever gone over 198.
Yeah, it's got at least maybe 199. So
damn, that was close.
Depends on how many personalities Jeff brings.
And Warren Sklar is back. How you doing, Warren?
Oh, Jim's coming. Hey. I'm doing. I'm pretty much pulling a Frank, dealing with health and computer issues, like everybody, probably everybody in the world at this point. Still living the La Vita single for a bit until
that's right.
Friday.
The wife is out of town, and you are in podcast heaven this week, I guess.
Hey, he's got the big room tonight.
I got the big room. Well, yeah, this is my room now. So, my wife, she's ready to come back. I think I'm ready to come back. It's been, I use the term rut lightly in this situation, but yeah, I've been kind of like I'm working full time now, so it's basically the same day it's Groundhog Day.
Absolutely. And Jeff Gamet is here. How are you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing great, Chuck. Dave.
Oh, what?
Saying Chuck is a brave man for asking you to sit in for him. Well, first, I think that speaks very highly of you. But the other side of that coin is that, for Chuck, there's a very thin line between a brave man and a fool. So we may have to reevaluate when we're done tonight.
Yes. Well, I guess we'll see after the show, right?
Jeff, that doesn't speak highly of you.
No, I'm afraid it does not.
Chuck's going to start getting hate email after today, and he's going to be, why am I getting hate email? What happened?
No, the first thing that'll happen is he'll send me a text message. Jeff, what did you do?
Yeah.
Well, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. But, speaking of fine, Jim Rea's back. How you doing, Jim Rea?
He is fine.
I think I'm fine.
Oh, you're fine.
You're fine.
You are fine.
Oh, yeah. Oh, geez, Jim.
Well, glad everybody's here. So, first topic we were going to talk about tonight was Apple did make $6.5 billion on not bundling chargers and earphones with new iPhones. We found this article talking about some of the devices that were not bundled with the iPhone. Of course, they're not including an adapter anymore. They're not including that charger. They are including a cable, of course, but and they're also not including the earphones that we always knew and loved, because you always saw the white earphones everybody was wearing, not the AirPods, but But I find it interesting to see why $6.5 billion they made. I mean, is this something that is really legit? I don't know.
I question the legitness of this.
Yeah.
And far be
Me
it for me
too.
to use real words. Okay, so are they assuming that everyone that got a new iPhone went out and bought a charger and headphones, and they bought those products from Apple? Are they assuming the retail cost for these items in as opposed to what Apple's cost for the items are? And where are they getting the number of devices, because Apple doesn't share that information?
Right. So
I'm looking
again,
at the
an
Daily
analyst.
Mail article.
Right.
It's claiming 27 pounds on each phone of savings. Apple was not paying 27 pounds.
No.
There's no way Apple is paying that much money for wired earbuds
Maybe that's how much
and
it's
a
saving
charger
weight.
brick.
Maybe that's weight. They save 27 pounds.
Maybe
but not
$5. Maybe.
It's in
So-
shipping.
My two stories real fast is one, there was a post on Facebook. I don't think it was in our group, but a different group. One girl, said, really, Apple, I can't charge them. I just got this and I can't charge a phone. And of course, everybody's replying back like, bring it back if it doesn't work. And then finally she's like, no, they didn't ship anything to charge it with. So there's people that are angry, obviously. Not
Right.
a lot, but a few. And then the other funny story is my mom's in Vegas and she bought an iPad. She bought a new iPad M1 Pro 12.9 a couple months ago
Go,
watch-
Mom.
to watch TV.
Yeah.
No, to watch
Yeah.
TV. This is what she
Just to watch TV, right? Okay.
Go,
I-
Mom.
and I said,
Go, Mom.
there's much cheaper options for this. She's like, no, it's fine, and I like it. Anyway, she's in
Oh,
Vegas, and she called me up. She actually called me up, and she's like, or she sent me a picture, and she's like, well, these work for my my iPad to listen to headphones. And she's at Target, and she takes a picture of the Apple to Lightning earphones is what she has, and I'm like, no, that's not going to work, because it's USB-C and that's not going to work in the iPad. So she's like, what do I do? And I'm thinking, it's like, here's my mom who, if I mention Bluetooth, it's going to be a mess because, I have to then walk her through
Go down that road.
A, what Bluetooth is, B, how to pair it, C, yes, it really doesn't take wires. So the story gets funnier real fast, but it's, but I'm thinking that you can't really go out and buy USB-C headphones in the store, and so I convinced her to buy Bluetooth, and she's like, how much are they? So she ends up buying the Target ones that are branded Hey something. You've seen them.
Yeah.
And she calls me up and I pair it, and she's like, then she calls back, how do you charge it? And things like that. And she's amazed that it works. So the long story short is a lot of people just don't know. You don't get the parts and this stuff, in the box, and you just don't know. And I see why Apple did it, but I also think maybe they shouldn't have. And somebody made a good point too with the iPhone SE, the new SE. They're not including the charger and earphones in there.
Yeah.
And the point of that was, this is a lot of people's first phone, right? It's a starter phone for a lot of people. So I mean, they may not have the drawer full of chargers.
Have chargers in their drawers.
Yep. That's all I got.
All right.
This is a problem that is not limited to Apple.
No.
I remember when Amazon started shipping Kindles without chargers, and that caused all kinds of brain damage in the media. And Android phone makers have been doing this not all of them, of course, but it's a thing. So, yeah, I mean, I think it was too early for Apple to take chargers out of the boxes because they were switching cables, but it was going to happen eventually. And but ultimately, I'm calling fake on those numbers for
I
how much money
steer
Apple made.
people who buy Apple stuff, I steer them to go to other companies because I will not. I just went through a thing with my AirPods where they tried screwing me over. And it's like, look, I can play the same game. You want to take my money? Well, I can take the money away from you. I'll send everybody else over to like Ugreen or Anchor or people like that. You know, they make quality products.
Never not once have I told anybody to go buy the Apple chargers or headphones if they need something like that. Because I mean, unless maybe the AirPods, which I like if they want to go that way. But
I could tell you a story of what I went through this last month with these stinking things.
Everybody should go read your blog because I read your blog about your.
Oh, did you read that? That actually happened, and I couldn't believe
that's what it's there for, right? So people read your blog, right?
Yeah, but the thing that no one does. So I get like 5 hits, but
Dave isn't no one.
What?
Dave isn't no one. Dave is somebody.
I wasn't being euphemistic, but the girl, she turns to me, and at one point, and I didn't put this in the article. She goes, well, your AirPods are out of warranty. And I'm like, well, yeah, obviously, it's over a year. But I said, and I started to say, I know you have this crackle issue that you're honoring a repair till October. And before I could get it out of my mouth, she goes, I think we might have. And she played it like it was high school theater. I mean,
like she was doing you some big favor.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, you got to be. And then, did you see the article? What the thing is at the end is I had this terrible habit. Whenever I get rid of a mobile device, you're supposed to back up and you're supposed to turn off Find My. I always forget to turn off Find My. Now I get these new AirPod Pros, get in the car. And I put some music through it, and I go, these sound a hell of a lot better than they originally did. And I don't have much faith in the human race. So I immediately went, I wonder if they just gave me new AirPods. Sure enough, I went home, turned on Find My. I found this pair here in this apartment, and the other pair still up at the Apple Store.
Yeah, that's what they do. If they find there's a problem with the AirPod, the crackle thing, they just completely replace them. It's like, here you go, new ones. Just pop them in your old case, and away you go.
They do now.
Oh, they didn't do that the first time.
Well, last week they announced a firmware updater, right, at the Apple Store. So they may not just swap them out. They may see if that. That's what I would do. See if this updater.
No, they're swapping them out. They have like boxes of AirPods to swap out.
But last week they said that there's a new updater. You can manually update the firmware for the AirPods at the Apple stores or something like that. So they might try that first, is what I'm saying.
Did they come out with an app yet to do that?
No, not for humans, just for Apple Store.
And what? Go ahead, Frank. Because since we just brought up your blog, go ahead and tell everybody what your website is.
Oh, it's ympnow.com.
Right.
It was originally, the way I got the name was YMP. I was doing a podcast, and I was going to call it Your Mac Podcast. And I was at a cafe, and I went and looked, and somebody had already had that name. And so I went, damn. And then a friend of mine yelled across the room, he goes, just add the word now to the end. That's what everybody else does. So I did that, and that took. So there's really no explanation for it. But.
All right.
Sounds great to me.
Yeah, it's working.
Hopefully.
Interesting topic tonight. Samsung actually announced yesterday a new iMac-Style smart monitor, the M8 with AirPlay, which is now available for pre-order. There was an article in MacRumors that talked about this. I'll put it in our chat here. They did announce that it does have USB-C charging connectivity, AirPlay support, which is unique for a non-Apple branded monitor, and a lot of smart TV features built into the distinctively iMac-like design.
I have last year's.
You have it?
Well, I have.
You have this.
The version it's replacing, so I could kind of tell you first of all, I could tell you AirPlay is in last year's version because I could AirPlay from my phone to this monitor. It's basically a monitor that runs Samsung's smart TV that you would find on your TV. Like, it's the same thing. In fact, it's literally like the same remote that you get with your Samsung TV, pretty much.
Yeah, I figured.
So I mean, it's basically a smart TV, and it has. I mean, the new one is basically just a different shape because the last year has the USB-C charging on the back. It's got like a little hub on the back, and it's a smart TV. It's got 2 inputs. It's nice, and the new design looks nice too. It looks like the iMac-Style. So, but I've seen the last year models on sale plenty of times, and I got it on sale. I think I got an open box at Best Buy, and I love it. It's good stuff. Doesn't have the webcam. Actually, is this the one that has a webcam add-on?
Yeah, this is the exact model, not exact model, but a model that's emulating what the Studio Display Apple is for about half the price. $700 is the price depending on the color you get, but it's going to have the high sensitivity far field voice microphone, and it has 2 5-watt speakers built into it. It's got a removable magnet 1080p slim fit webcam. It's got the face tracking and auto zoom functions similar to what the center stage feature is in Apple's. So I just opened up to the panel. Do you think this could be a worthy competitor to the Apple Studio Display? Because the reviews have been very mixed with the Apple Display.
I played with one 2 days ago. I went to the Apple store for the first time forever.
And what was your thought?
So they had the studio. They had 2 studios out, and they had the Studio Mac out there too. And I did play with the FaceTime camera, and the camera's neat. It does follow you around like that. People were looking at me funny in the store when I was emulating that, but
you are funny, but.
Well, they're like, why is that guy why is that guy dodging the screen? Why does it look like he's about to box?
Excuse me.
So
wasn't fast enough.
But it was nice. I mean, it's a monitor that has a camera, and the design's nice. And the speakers up on top. The Mac Mini Studio looked like it looks exactly what it was. And again, I've said this before, but if you replace my Mini, the M1 that I have with this Studio, and I never saw it because it's behind this monitor, I would never know. I mean, there's really, no difference. So, but the Samsung,
is it worth? Is it $15.99 worth the value with Apple's asking?
I wouldn't buy it. I would definitely consider the Samsung coming out. I'm gonna look it up. So, so that's my take. Is I might actually get another Samsung to match this one here. Also, the iMac, the Mac Studio is a mess as far as mounting it, and like if I want to put it on the VESA arm, that's a whole thing.
Yeah,
I would never spend that much money on it. I mean, it's $700 is a lot for a monitor, I think, too. Personally,
yeah.
I bought 2. Most of my monitors
depends on what you're using the monitor for.
Yeah,
for the average user, $700 is a lot of money to spend on a monitor.
Right. The Samsung that I have from last year that came out this year, I think was in the 2s. So I mean, it's beautiful.
You got a steal.
Yeah. So I mean,
this Samsung monitor I'm looking at right now, 32-inch. I think the cost was like $350. So
yeah. So like if once you go over $500 for a monitor, I start to think that you have a special need, like Jeff said, to have something like that.
Which is why I spent more than $500 on my monitor. But
calibration.
I knew what I was buying, and I bought it specifically because of what I was getting, and I knew what it was, and it's what I needed. But just like the average person going out and spending $3,000, $5,000 on a monitor, they're probably overspending because they're buying this technology that probably isn't necessary for what they need. So, all right. So to spin it back around to this monitor, Dave, you asked if this is a good competitor for Apple's new Studio Display.
Well, what monitor is it? You didn't tell us.
What monitor am I using?
Yeah.
I have the HP Z34C.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. And I love it. And I've had it for several years and it's still great. But I will probably have to replace it in the next year or two. I'm guessing because I'm assuming at that point, oh no, wait, it's not backlit. Never mind. Okay. Because I was concerned about the color shifting too much, but so we'll see. But anyhow, so the Samsung display, this new one, this, I don't see it as a competitor for Apple's display. I see it as a nice, more affordable alternative to Apple's display.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh,
Apple may not.
I don't. What's the difference between competitor and alternative?
To me, a competitor is something where you're going feature matching,
I see.
and trying to get to the customer based on, hey, you know, they've got those features, we've got these features too, but we also have the twist that makes it even better. And in this case, we're not talking about the same specs for these devices.
Well,
And-
the two Apple monitors, are they even, what would be their competitors? They're not consumer.
There aren't
level.
any.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, they're not. Well, for
the
Apple's high-end
Just the old
display.
LG. Yeah.
Yeah, the old LG. But okay, so
Yeah,
for
but the
Apple's
problem, the
high-end
old LG
display,
does
that's a
not do
display.
well.
For Apple's high-end
Hang on,
display,
Frank.
that's a display that is designed for pro studio use, and the competing products for that cost several $1,000s more.
So what about
So-
the new one, the 15? Who's that competing against?
So
What's its competitive?
There are no other 5K displays except for the LG.
no, there are several others.
The
No, there
studio,
aren't.
no, I'm talking about the new
Look
one.
them
the
up.
15.
I did a search on this last week. There aren't any shipping 5K displays.
I found a few last week when we were looking, but
But even, but,
Did
but
you
the
click
most of
through and
them-
try to buy one?
Hang
Is
on.
it- is a new one 5K? I thought it was
yeah, it's
4K.
5K.
The new one,
Yeah,
From Apple.
From Apple, it's a 5K display.
the studio. Really?
It's the same
Thought
panel
people-
that was basically the same panel that was on the 27-inch iMac, except it's a little bit brighter.
Mhm.
So they were complaining about something that is not something
Well, some
It's
people
not
are
HDR.
complaining that it's
HDR. That's what it was. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and some people are pissed off that it's not 120 hertz.
Promotion.
The 120
right?
hertz, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's even possible with an external monitor.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with this Samsung, the M8 model that we were talking about here. This also has a lot of the consumer type stuff, a smart monitor with the home hub, and it's got the built-in operating system that's in it. It's only 4K, so is
Right.
really there going to be a difference between 4K and 5K? Will anybody really notice that much difference between a 4K and a 5K monitor?
I think that monitor would compete more with an iMac at this point. What
I
size
think
is it?
it's like
Is it
50% more
4.5?
pixels.
Was it 24 inch or 27?
This
4.5.
Samsung is. You talking about the Samsung?
The new one. Yeah.
It's 32 inch.
Okay. So I think this would appeal to the people who maybe wanted the new 27 inch iMac and might want to just get a M1 mini and this thing. I would,
Except the
I-
27-inch
I
iMac
agree.
had the 5K display.
but I
Does
don't
it have
think,
USB inputs?
I don't think most people, I
Yes.
mean, most people who have a 27 inch iMac or a 24 inch or the 21, 90% of people don't care that it was 4 or 5K. I don't think. I think it's just the aesthetics and they like the way it looked. Well, let's put it this way: if they sold a 27 inch iMac and one was 4K and one was 5K, I bet more people would buy the 4K one if it was cheaper.
Yeah, this Samsung display. I mean, I'm looking at the specs. This is a nice display. Like for the average computer user, this would be a really nice display. 4K. And since it's 4K, you're 60 hertz refresh. Hey,
And I can see I
Cat.
yeah.
can see it in HG.
So she keeps batting at the at one of the hard drive icons on my desktop. Apparently, she thinks this is a touchscreen. But anyhow, so 400 nits of brightness. It's not as bright as Apple's new studio display. Thanks for visiting, Kat. And yeah, so it's a nice display. I think Apple is targeting the prosumer market with the studio display, just like they're doing with the Mac Studio. And it's not the display for the average person.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, we'll see how this goes. I mean, I'm sure Apple is already selling the studio display quite well.
Yeah, I think it's back ordered out to June.
Yeah.
I think the Samsung looks great. If Apple had, a monitor in the 4K space, I would think, this would sort of be what, they would offer.
Yeah.
But they don't offer a 4K monitor. The flip side is I'm using a Dell 32-inch 4K monitor that was $350. So
same thing with my Samsung. It's a 4K and it's
So on the 4K, there's a ton of, there's so many that you can buy.
All right. Another story I'm surprising you guys with here. I wanted to talk about a little bit. I put it in our chat here. Google Chrome hit version 100. Wow. And I know there was a big, huge hoo-ha about, what happens if the Google Chrome goes to 100? So of course, all the other Chromium-based browsers are going to follow suit here very shortly. And they released it with new desktop icons to celebrate the 100th version, version 100, I should say, which I can't believe Chrome has been around for almost 14 years.
Wow.
And it's been around a long time here. This article shows some of the different designs that they changed. They changed the design of the icon for Chrome. But I know they were making a big, huge deal of the fact that that version 100 might break things in the OS or their browser itself. I know. Did anybody hear anything about that? This doesn't mention that, but
I hope not. I just installed it on every single computer I own, so I hope it's okay.
Well, that's what you're famous for, but that's okay.
Right.
Well, yeah. I mean, it said there was an update for Chrome. I said sure, and it updated, and I didn't notice.
No, there's no beta, so you got to install browsers. So
yeah. Pretty much. But the icon looks almost the same to me. I didn't barely even notice, to be honest with you.
I thought the problem was that a lot of websites are coded to check for 2-digit browser versions, and they've been getting updated, so it's not a big deal.
That's
like WordPress.
Awful.
It can check for 3-digit browser versions now, so that takes care. Assuming everyone's updating, that takes care of a huge number of websites right there.
Wow, for a website to check the browser version, that strikes me as a really bad code smell.
It's pretty common.
They should be checking for individual features, not for browser versions.
And yet they check for browser versions. Like, you need to have Chrome version, whatever, to make this website
I can see them displaying
stuff.
that, but it shouldn't break a website. But website should just be like, does it have this? Because you can check in, all the individual features, and because if they're checking a browser version, that means they're right away specific to that browser. Because the browser versions aren't going to match on Safari or Firefox or, so a good coding should never check the browser version. If I saw a site doing that, I would be like, wow.
Secure sites, banks, finance, they don't want you using old browsers, and they'll say you need at least this for this to work. So they've done it. It's not the first time.
But they could still do that by checking.
They definitely check the version number, don't they?
No, but you can they can check like if a specific browser feature is there. They've been able to do that for 6 or 7 years.
Jim, this is going to be a big shock to you, I'm sure. There's a lot of lazy developers out there.
Not you, of course.
Not you. And Jim, I am not disagreeing with you at all. They should be checking to make sure that the browser features that they need to function properly are there. Not just saying, oh, well, you're running Safari, this version, and it needs to be newer, or you have this version of Chrome, it needs to be newer. And I'm assuming it's going to get really screwed up once Microsoft Edge gets updated, because right now Edge is 98 point whatever. So I'm assuming the next version of Edge that comes out will be Microsoft Edge XP, and then no web browser will know what to do with that.
That's right. Oh gosh.
This Mac Voices Live panel is back in the next edition of Mac Voices to talk more about a whole lot of topics that are in the news and that they had some pretty strong feelings about. Until then, and as always, I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.